Hey guys, it's Taco, and today I decided to make a video where I talk about how I got into Smash Bros. More specifically, how I got into Melee. This is something that I've been getting a lot of questions about, and I figured as though the best way for me to answer those questions would be with a video like this. So, my first interaction with Smash Bros. Came when I was maybe like 6, 7, or 8 years old. It was then that I discovered a YouTube video, which was this compilation of all the cutscenes from the Subspace Emissary. It all seemed very interesting to me, and so for some time I started watching Brawl content. Unfortunately, though, I was never able to play the game myself. And after some time, I stopped watching that stuff and moved on to something else. That was just what I did at that age. But then, quite a few years later, on Christmas Day 2014, I received the newly released Smash 4 as a Christmas gift. And I was very intrigued. I was very excited to finally start playing something from the Smash franchise. And so I fired up the game almost immediately. And then for quite some time going forward, I'd play a lot of Smash in the most casual way you could imagine. I play it against 3 CPUs at once on wacky stages with all items turned on. That was the only way that I was aware you could play the game. Um, I did play against some of my friends a couple of times as well, but it's not really the most relevant thing. What the stuff I said about the CPUs and that, like that was the way. That was my way of playing Smash. Um, but then at some point, I discovered that the game had online functionality that you could play against players online, and so I started up for Glory, got into a match, and I got my ass kicked. But me getting my ass kicked was actually somewhat motivating for me because it made me want to get better. Mm, and the way I figured I'd try getting better was via watching Smash videos and sort of like strategies and stuff you could use to improve your gameplay. And then whilst I was doing this, I came across a YouTuber named Introspective, and he really stood out from the crowd because his videos were casual enough to where I could familiarize myself with what he was talking about, but it was also competitive enough to where I felt that I could learn something new. Um, I think, like if I remember correctly, I think I knew something about Smash competitive scene. Like I knew it existed, but it was here that I was really given a proper introduction to it. And during this time, I also realized that King DDD was not a very good character. So I stopped using him and I was going to pick up a new main. I thought of going for someone maybe like Marth or Mario, but no, but then I discovered that Bowser was a character that I could play fairly well, and he was also good enough to where I could pull in some good results. So I started. He then became my new main, and I still stand by by that. Smash 4 Bowser is better than what most people realize. So yeah. Anyway, from then on, I'd uh, play Smash semi-competitively, which is to say I familiarized myself with the tier list and I just played online. Didn't enter a single tournament, nothing like that. I just played online. And looking back at it now, I was not really the most competitive player out there. I did say I was a competitive player, but it just wasn't quite right. And then of course, in December 2018, Smash Bros. Ultimate came out, and I had gotten myself a Switch a few months prior, and so obviously I quickly got my hands on Ultimate, and I abandoned Smash 4 and started playing Ultimate in the exact same way. Um, and whilst switching to Ultimate, I started liking King K. Rool and his sort of gameplay style. And so, for a very long time, King K. Rool was my Smash main. Um, but then, during the pandemic, my love for the Smash franchise just sort of fell out. I just felt that I didn't get the same amount of enjoyment out of the series, and I said to myself that I was just done with this, and then I didn't play. I like, barely played the game for years, and I was sure that I was never going to have a serious match with anyone ever again. But then 2022 rolls around, and my friend invites me to a chess tournament. I never entered anything like that before, but it seemed interesting. I played a decent amount of chess throughout my life, and I thought I could do decently. But it turns out that I wasn't as good as I thought, and I lost. Lost. Uh, did very poorly. But on that day, I realized that playing a sport competitively like that was something that I wanted to do. But I also realized that chess just wasn't my kind of thing. And so I thought, is there something that people play competitively that I'm okayish at that I could start picking up again? Oh, wait, yes, Smash Bros. Exists. And so I regularly started playing online matches on Ultimate again, and I also decided that I was going to look seriously into um, the competitive Ultimate scene. But then it hit me that uh, throughout my years of trying to learn Smash 4 and Ultimate, I had gotten a lot more interested in Melee than my interest in Melee was just a lot bigger than my interest in Smash 4 and Ultimate. I silly me forgot to tell you this earlier, but like while looking at Smash 4 videos and all that stuff, I came across the competitive Melee scene. I did know it existed prior to that because Introspective, the dude I talked about earlier, he made videos about Melee every now and then. And watching competitive Melee VODs was something that I thought was way more interested in than looking at Smash 4 or Ultimate VODs. And I had watched a handful of videos about Melee here and there, and every time I got a lot more enjoyment out of it than I did watching videos for other Smash games. And it was through this sort of thing that I also, like I knew quite a bit about Melee. Prior to this, it was from watching these sorts of videos. And so I started looking for ways to play Melee. Because what's the point in playing Ultimate when you think that Melee is 50% more fun? And it took me an embarrassing amount of time, but somewhere in the first few months of 2023, I managed to be able to play Slippy, and I then decided that I was going to practice on Slippy for a few months, and then once I feel like I'm ready, I'll look for tournaments in my area. And then after some time of doing that, I came across Smash Trondheim. I joined the Discord server and sort of oriented myself. And I decided that, okay, there's this tournament called Song happening this Saturday. I'll join that. But then I just didn't. Then I guess that week progressed. I realized that I don't want. I don't have time to do that this Saturday. I just won't go. And then summer vacation happened. Everyone goes home, and there are no tournaments except one, Greedcrypt. And so I did the only logical thing, and I attended Greedcrypt. And yeah, most of you should probably know the rest. Started entering somewhat consistently, doing quite well, and yeah. As you all probably know, I started off using Marth, and that just goes to show that somewhat heavy and slow characters that can hit hard, like that was my bread and butter when it came to Smash characters for a while. Like I said, I mean DD, Bowser, King K. Rool, and then Marth. But nowadays, I also have a Sheik, and I've started using my Sheik more and more, and my Marth less and less. Also have a bunch of pocket characters. I'm pretty good with Fox, pretty good with Falco. My Ice Climbers are also quite decent. So I think I've sort of broken my curse, if you could call it that. Because having a slow character that hits hard is just not something that I feel like I'm dependent on having in order to do well in Smash. I don't really have anything else to say. So if you got through this whole thing, thank you. It means a lot to me that you'd spend 10 plus minutes of your life just watching me ramble on about Smash Bros. I would tell you to subscribe and shit, but it annoys me when YouTubers do that stuff. So I won't. Anyway, keep watching me, I guess, if you want to. I have a few other videos. But if you don't want to do that, go watch something else. Yeah. Goodbye.